Do you believe in miracles? Of course you do. You wouldn't have clicked on this video if you didn't. But what about standing up for your beliefs in the face of certain death? That's exactly what happened to three friends in ancient Babylon. It was the orders of the great King Nebuchadnezzar. If you've been following along with our series, you may remember him. He was the one who conquered Jerusalem and took the Israelites into exile in Babylon. He built magnificent palaces and gardens and made everyone in his empire prosperous. In fact, he was so cool that he kicked off construction of the world's first known skate park. It was probably awesome. The only problem was he was also really proud of himself. And after conquering Judah, he decided to take things a step further. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Are you kidding me right now? I mean, do you not fear King Nebuchadnezzar? This guy has ordered everyone, literally everyone from every nation and language, to bow down before this massive gold statue he set up, and if you don't fall down and worship it, he's got a fiery furnace waiting for you. Talk about high stakes, right? But these three didn't even flinch. They stood their ground and said, "We do not serve your gods, and we will not worship the gold image you've set up." Can you imagine that kind of bravery? They went on to say, "The God we worship is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's our father, and he created everything, heaven, earth, and all that's in it. Your gods, they're just made up stuff. Not even close to the real deal." It's a powerful moment that shows the strength of faith and conviction. How many of us would have the guts to stand up like that? But then, something kind of funny happened. In the midst of all the festivities, Nebuchadnezzar suddenly realized that there was a key ingredient missing from his grand event. He needed his subjects to worship him. So, when everyone had gathered in front of that dazzling golden image, he made a bold command. Everyone had to bow down and worship it. And here's the kicker: if anyone dared to refuse, they'd be tossed into a blazing furnace. Talk about high stakes, huh? It's like he was saying, you either worship me, or you're toast. At that moment, a herald cried out, "Is the time come? Is the hour at hand? That we must now worship gold?" And behold, three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, friends from back in Jerusalem who had remained faithful to the God of Israel, stood firm. They weren't budging. They didn't even flinch. They just stood there while the whole crowd bowed down to the golden image, except them. So here's how the story goes. A long time ago, back in the days of old, there lived three young Hebrew men named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These guys were best friends, and they worked in the royal palace of King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. They were basically like the palace janitors. Now, these guys were pretty special because, unlike most people in Babylon, they still believed in Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But now their loyalty was being tested like never before. As soon as the king's command was given, the other officials and nobles fell to their knees before the giant golden statue. But these three friends didn't budge. No way were they gonna bow down to a golden statue. Not gonna happen. So why did they stand firm? Well, let's ask them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Are you kidding me right now? I mean, do you not fear King Nebuchadnezzar? This guy has ordered everyone, literally everyone from every nation and language, to bow down before this massive gold statue he set up. And if you don't fall down and worship it, he's got a fiery furnace waiting for you. Talk about high stakes, right? But these three didn't even flinch. They stood their ground and said, "We do not serve your gods, and we will not worship the gold image you've set up." Can you imagine that kind of bravery? They went on to say, "The God we worship is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's our father, and he created everything, heaven, earth, and all that's in it. Your gods, they're just made up stuff, not even close to the real deal." It's a powerful moment that shows the strength of faith and conviction. How many of us would have the guts to stand up like that? Wow, okay, that's bold. I mean, seriously, the only logical thing to do was bow down and then sneak out later and maybe pretend you weren't there. Instead, they were basically calling the king and his gods trash. I gotta hand it to them though. They were standing up for what they believed in, even if it cost them their lives. And the way they worded it, almost like they knew God would protect them, and then God did. Now let's get back to the story. The king got mad. I mean, really mad. I think he was more mad that they called him and his gods trash than the fact that they refused to bow. At least that's what I would have been mad about. So he ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. That's hot. And then those three guys were thrown into it. The record says the fire was so hot that it killed those who carried them. That's some next level heat. And then everyone expected the worst. After all, they had stood against the mighty King Nebuchadnezzar and his gods. I mean, it's hard to imagine anyone surviving that, let alone coming out unscathed. But somehow they did. Check it out. The three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down and were tied up. Then the furnace door was locked and sealed with the king's signet ring, and the guards were commanded to keep the fire burning until morning. So the next day, the guards came to throw them into the furnace, but they were shocked by what they saw. Every guard on duty that ran over to see those three friends get burned alive. And they were amazed. The door of the furnace had been locked, the seal was intact, but inside they saw 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the fourth appeared to be a human-like figure. But who was this fourth man? Was he an angel? Maybe even God himself? We don't know for sure, but it doesn't matter. What we do know is that whoever this fourth man was, he was there to protect the three friends and help them survive the night. When the king heard what had happened, he couldn't believe his ears. So he rushed over to the furnace and asked, "Did not three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, cast into the fire, bound, because they did not bow and worship the gold image that you set up, O king?" The king was shocked to see that they were okay, and he asked, "Who is this fourth man who has walked through the fire with them?" Immediately, the three men replied, "It was God whom we worship, who sent his angel and rescued us from the furnace." You know, I think the craziest part of this story is that it's actually one of the few times in the Bible when a person or persons are saved from being burned to death. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Why am I telling you this story? What's the big deal? Well, this story teaches us a few important lessons about courage, faith, and obedience. These three friends showed incredible courage. When faced with a choice between their life and their faith, they chose the latter. And in doing so, they taught us an important lesson. Sometimes standing up for what we believe in can be scary, like really scary, but that shouldn't stop us. If we truly believe in something, we should be willing to stand up for it, even if it costs us something. The story also teaches us about faith. These three friends trusted in God to protect them, and he did. I mean, how could you not believe in a God who can save you from being burned to death? And finally, this story teaches us about obedience. These three friends obeyed God instead of the king, and in doing so, they were rewarded with miraculous deliverance. Okay, I'm curious. What do you think? What would you do in their situation? Would you stand up for your beliefs, even if it meant certain death? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. See you next time.